We already started recording. How about you'll tell the audience, because I'm going to mess it up. Tell them a little bit about who you are and what's your startup.
Yeah, I'm Brandy Burch Thompson now. I'm officially trying to make the transition to my new married name. But I'm the CEO of Benefit Bay, and our startup is around benefits. They're really complex in the United States, and they're really messy, and there's a lot of problems to solve. But the biggest problem we're solving is personal choice with the employer benefit dollars that your employer is spending. So allowing an individual to choose. There's a lot of complexities around that, and we can talk about it. But the software and the service and stepping in that gap to really solve that problem for employers and brokers and carriers is what our startup is about. And so the name is Benefit Bay.
So are you just the software, the platform, or are you also part of a program manager or providing the benefits?
Yeah, so we're a full ecosystem, a benefits value chain. We have a software as a service technology sales tool for the broker. And that becomes very much a SaaS model, a traditional SaaS model. And then for the employer, we become a benefit administration technology. But for that employee, we become a licensed agent education enrollment support tool, a mechanism to help them make the right choice with those dollars and have an education there at the table. And then we move the dollars. So we're also a FinTech. So we've got a little bit of health tech, a little bit of service because we have an agency model and we're licensed in all 50 states and appointed with the carriers. And then we do direct integration with the carriers. So we're solving the problems for the carriers. So it's very complex. Technology, I would 100% say we're a health tech. We're also a FinTech, but we have to have a Benefit Bay insurance agency and that agency service model to really do this well. And I think that's where a few people don't do it well. They don't consider the human. The human needs help, even though there is tech and there are tools. Sometimes that's confusing. Sometimes people don't have a lot of technology. They're not as technically apt to use the tools, and they may be working in more of a blue collar scenario, and they don't have access to those tools to use those decision-making tool sets or even know how. So we stand in that gap as well.
You need such a complex DNA to solve all of these problems because each one of them requires a team or a very successful, very dedicated individual. If from, let's call it the IT enterprise success team, so they can work and make the integrations, working with the employee who is actually going to ask a question. It's like, hey, listen, I have a problem. What exactly is going on? Because can you explain me? I think that's actually one of the biggest problems that when I was an employee, I had to go on the different platform and you have like that. How long is it? A few weeks, a month that you have?
Yeah, it's usually 10 to 15 days, a very small time to make a decision that lasts a whole year.
And then you go like, okay, what are the options? When do I even have time to digest it, to compare it? Do I have an option? Or is it just what my employer is like, hey, this is what you have and we are partially paying for it. If you don't like, the other option is to opt out.
Yes, that's how it works now. Is usually you have no choice, or you have one carrier and maybe two choices. So something like a high deductible plan, so you can put money in an HSA, and something like an HMO, but they're both with the same carrier. So if that carrier doesn't cover your doctor, you really, in effect, didn't have a choice. Your employer made it for you. What we're doing is changing that, allowing your employer to budget, give you the money and allow you to choose for yourself. And you can choose from all the carriers and all the plans. So that's a lot more, adds a lot of complexity to educate people on to make sure they feel like they're making the right choice. And it does take a team of a lot of people with a different skill sets to do what we're doing, for sure.
So my understanding so far is that your added value is that actually you are providing a choice, because until now, or the way that it operates today, there is no real choice. It's like, take it or leave it. And now you're like, hey, we're going to work with the brokers and we're going actually, and please correct me if I'm running here on assumption. You are working with the brokers like, we're going to disrupt a little bit the way that you work in terms of opening it up. So we are not just tying ourselves to one carrier. We are opening it up to a few carriers. And here's our skill of negotiation so we can get better terms, or just open it up.
Yeah, it's just open it up because the carriers file their plans each year and they quote them on the individual family product side off of exchange. They have those quotes filed every year, but it's based on the zip code of where the human lives and their age. And so the complexity in what we deliver is for a broker to be able to take all of the heartbeats in an employer and quote them quickly. So if they're currently using a carrier, we usually call those an incumbent. So if they're currently using a carrier incumbent, we load that plan. So the types of things that employee base gets access to with that plan. And we say, oh, well, this was a gold plan to give your employees the same buying power in every seat where they sit in New York, in LA, in Florida. You will need to give them this much money. And then that money is allocated and the employees are able to go and pick what they want. In their market, they could choose to buy down, they could choose to buy up. That's going to be a personal choice, but they will have equivalent buying power in their market and their employer will have a budget to do so. So that's in, easy terms to understand the way we do it. There are regulations and benefits. So there's affordability. You must offer at least lowest cost silver product. We have to be able to load all the plans and calculate what is lowest cost silver. And then any one class can't have more than 3-to-1 ratio to the other classes. So our technology does all of that and just makes it really easy in real time for the broker to add their value at the table.
So who is your client? Who is actually paying you? Is that the broker, the carrier?
It's multi-faceted. So the broker is paying us a SaaS subscription and they become our sales agents out in the market. If ICRA or individual choice for their population is what is right for that employer and drives costs down and improves, the experience for the employee population, then the employer will choose Benefit Bay and the employer will pay Benefit Bay. So then that employer becomes our client and we enter into an agreement to service their broker and them as the employer. And then the employee's policy, in some cases, will have a commission paid. Not all carriers pay commission on an individual product, so we're not swayed by that. We allow them to choose what they want. There could be a situation where a carrier is going to remit commission, and we disclose that if that happens, that's going to be a small $15 to $20 on that policy. It's not going to be what it currently is in the commercial market.
Now, first of all, thank you very much for explaining that, because the complexity, and the main reason I ask is because, okay, what are the incentives and who do you care about the most? Because you're paying client. That usually the one that you want to make sure that is whole and happy and everything is set right with them. And we're going back to the complexity of the DNA and all the different layers that you need to service. I love it, and it's quite remarkable. It's not easy. Sometimes I would say different organizations pigeonhole themselves into this is the service, this is what we know to do, and we're going to be very defensive about this one thing because if I'll pass a lead or if we'll bring people together too much, I'm going to lose my client or lose the premium that I'm expecting to receive. That's many agents and working with different, it really depends in the funnel of the lead, prospect lead, etc. And actually as an agent or as a full carrier. Sorry, it's a bit more of a PNC analogy here. No, that's...
You have to be good at what you do because we could get fired.
Of course.
We could get fired if an employee has a bad experience. Mm-hmm. We could get fired if an employer has a bad experience. We could get fired if the broker has a bad experience. So we have to have a really polished team that cares about each piece of the value chain and treats everyone with the same importance, because We are go to market through the broker, and that is how we put our anchor in the market, and that's how we gain that employer, and that's how we gain those employees. But the employees are not going to want and deliver this message to all of their friends that personal choice is working if you're not doing it well and they don't feel like they were valued in the process. So we understand that.
When did you guys start?
When did we start? April of
Yeah.
21. April of 2021.
2021. So that
Yeah.
was what? Were we still in Corona? Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it
so.
was
Yeah,
it was
kind
still
of
it
the
was
end.
still COVID. It was coming out of COVID. The
Yeah.
travel bans were starting to be lifted. For sure it was remote work. And so we are a remote first team and still a remote first team. We sit across 18 states. It's really important to me. This is my basement. You can probably kind of tell I'm in a corner of a basement here. Yeah. And that time, ICRA had passed in 2020. It was a little slow to adopt, and we thought it'd be quicker at that time. We signed a few brokers in late 21 and turned our tech on. It took a while to get brokers to think that this was something they should buy into, and we stayed very true to our mission that we were go to market through the broker first. I am thankful to this day that we didn't cave by the pressure of investors or the pressure of others or the market competition being more successful going direct to employer at first, because the brokers just took a little longer to educate that this was a real fit and that we could do it well, because they had the most to lose about bringing a partner in and educating the employees. So they were scared that they would lose their value in the chain. And it took repetitive work on our side to show we weren't wavering to really build that trust. So it's one of the reasons why I'm thankful we didn't ever do that. Most of our competitors have been playing in both lanes. It's really hard to build trust if you're marketing direct to their employers, but you're also saying, I will bring you along sometimes when you're still at the table, but sometimes I'll cut you away from the table if they let me. And that's something that's been really important, but it's been slow for us. And we've really taken off 23, 24, 25, because now we've built that brand in the broker market and they service those larger groups. So it's those smaller employers that were willing to go direct to employer early. It's the larger employers willing to go now, and they're going to go with a partner like Benefit Bay. Yeah. So my background's accounting, my undergrad's in accounting, my master's degree is in finance. And in roles that I had chosen, I have a large family, so I didn't choose the roles that required you to travel a lot. I would choose roles that allowed me to hold and wear multiple hats, but be more in a smaller business, a lifestyle business in Kansas City, an organization that was needing to evolve, manage transformational change, maybe had long-term employees and was needing to recruit newer talent and or became a bit stale. And in that work, I had learned that benefits were a huge performance mechanism. They were a huge EBITDA improvement. Typically, as a finance leader, a HR team resistant to change or not wanting to disrupt employee populations would not necessarily make a change with a carrier or a plan or be innovative. Often brokers would get a bit comfortable, we'll call it comfortable, and they wouldn't take that employer population through any change either, because they risked getting terminated if something happened. So often the businesses were paying way too much for benefits after a few years of that type of behavior, of not wanting to go out for RFP or not wanting to look for competitive quotes or not looking at what newer brokerage agencies may have been innovating. So getting a bit stale in your strategy on benefits is something that will bite you for retention, will have you getting passed up for recruiting from other firms that are being more innovative or more companies that are being innovative. And I found a real interest in benefits. I also found that I would be really frustrated in populations where we were contributing a lot to benefits and we would have a large health claim. It would create such a budget shift each year. It wouldn't be overall the population was healthy. You'd have one major claim and it would cause everyone else to decline to quote because that claim was going into the next year. And so you'd be stuck with that incumbent carrier giving you a 40% renewal. And I, in the finance seat, would have to try to make that work, right? So you're pulling programs, you're cutting team members, or you're pulling back budget in areas, which upsets employees. And I always felt that I was a people first leader and I cared about the humans within my team. But sometimes I was having to do the impossible with the numbers to ensure that the company was successful. And so I just felt there had to be a better way. There has to be a way that we don't get health information on our employees, because in self-insured populations and in any of the group insurance benefits market, we get to know that people are, getting cancer diagnoses, and we get to know that someone's pregnant before they've announced it at work. And I think all of that is gross. I don't think we should have access to that data. In the individual market, all of those things are fixed. That's an individual policy. Your employer doesn't get to have access to that. Your broker doesn't get to have access to that. So those are the things that really drove some passion in me, that I started to think if we could get consumers making the decisions and being able to be loyal to physicians, we could impact a positive change in healthcare. And that's what drives my passion for it. I think what makes me great at leading this company is that I understand how benefits are purchased. I understand how actuarial decisions are made. I understand what a CFO needs if they go to individual choice to plan for their population, to make this budget decision. I understand what HR needs to feel safe that these individuals are stewarded well. And I understand what the broker needs to remain in the value chain, and that they need to feel confident and trusted with their partner that they're inserting in the middle, and that they need to know their logos are taken care of. So I think that that's what's made me a good fit to lead this organization, is just from all of those years of experience of doing and being an operator and managing benefits on the other side of this employer equation. $200 million in venture investment have gone to ICHRA in the last 12 months-ish.
Say that again?
$200 million have gone into ICHRA in the last year. Yeah, this industry that I service, of which I've only been able to raise $3 million in that same 12-month period. Yeah.
So, and that money came from
Our
VCs or
yeah.
from, well, okay.
Yeah, we have we're in the Midwest, so we have smaller venture capital investors and then a high net worth individual that's on our cap table.
Yeah. So here's the thing, and that's, I'm putting on my investment banker hat and non-active angel investor. The Midwest, and actually everywhere, you have great talent.
Yes.
And being stuck on the coasts is one of the I hope I pronounced this correctly, not decadence, the biggest problem of not self-serving for various VCs that think too much about themselves. There are great VCs, there are amazing investors out there, but they are missing the core of talent that you have. And I'll give a shout out to a few folks. Well, Michigan, I don't know, it's Midwest, but Ohio State and other places, Kansas and more.
Yeah, my investors are from Ohio and Michigan, to be honest. That
was more of a lucky guess that I actually hit them. But you have so much great talent there that is overlooked or kind of being snobbed at. It's I have a good friend who's it's a Canadian company. He's in Texas and he's hiring only from the corridor. It's like Texas up. That's his strategy. Is like best talent undervalued. That's it. And he's looking for a potential, because if he thinks that the school wasn't good enough, it's a technology company.
Yeah.
He will make sure he will interview them based on their potential. And from there, the sky is the limit. So US money, there is a lot of money got in. You're still looking for money. I assume you didn't really say that.
Not looking for money right now, but we will. And I
You
mean,
will,
yeah,
there
we
will,
will. Yeah,
there will
yeah,
be a point that your success will reach a point that you go like, yeah, I can scale it up. And the only reason to raise money is to scale up the operation.
yes, that is correct. Yes.
If it,
Or if an investor is ready to leave, which maybe by 2026 or 2027, somebody will, that happens too. Yeah.
well, if the board really pressure you, to, I, I assume that you have a 3-member board,
We have a 4-member board, 3
4-member.
investors and myself. So it's an odd
Yeah,
number to have for a board because we often get 2 and 2.
yeah.
Yeah, 2 early investors and then the latest money and me are usually aligned more for a longer strategy. And the early investors are feeling very confident in where we are with the limited investment we've taken, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
taking growth equity is, well, I mean, we could exit for all of this, but then we're going to put somebody in front of us. Yeah.
Listen, there are investors that's and kind of my strategy in early stage startups that invest. It's like, yeah, I'm here until Series A, Series B. I'm
Yeah.
looking for a secondary. There will come a big investor that would like to clean up the cap table, and I'm just a small angel. So here, give a good price based on the less whatever is post money valuation, and let's go.
Yep. I think that's where we'll be. And that will be, we are not we haven't taken a Series A yet. So we'll
So
be,
everything is notes, and I think I will
we,
push down the valuation to a later date.
yeah, I mean, we did a seed round and then we did a safe round. And yeah, we just haven't done a Series A round.
Okay. I will
Yeah.
not ask about revenues and stuff like that while we are recording. We can talk about that stuff later on, but just nod. Good traction. Are you happy?
Traction. I am so happy. Yeah, we've 3x the last 3 years. So yeah.
Oh, that's what every investor wants to hear.
Yes, for sure. We've done
Yeah,
amazing things. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm super happy
Although,
and probably protected. You protect yourself by not taking those large investments as the founding team for sure.
well, that's a philosophical question about the protection in terms of how much equity you keep, and is that more on a control versus, let's call it common stock, and the expectation. But I will, point back to the 4 board members, and you know, an equal number that always lead to some sort of a challenge. But you guys managed to to make it work. So
Yeah.
that's impressive. Okay, what else people don't know about the benefit world?
I don't think it's so hard, but I think there are millions of employees across the United States of America and different industries and different professionals demand different experiences in their benefits programs. And there are retail and hospitality industries that, they really hope people don't take their benefits. They can't traditionally afford to offer much and still be in business. And it's such a diverse population of people. It's such a diverse makeup of what people can afford to offer and then what people can demand based on their ability to do that in professional sectors, right? If you need to compete for engineers, you probably better have a really slick program for your enrollment of benefits, and you better be offering a great benefits package because someone else is trying to take that engineer from you. It's not as luxurious for our front end workers traditionally. I think it's terrible that that's the way it is here, but it is. And I think that's why so many can compete. I think because we are flush with capital in America traditionally, and you can start a tech startup and you can go out and use those dollars and get a lot of subscriptions, then it's created a market where a lot of people can be successful. But in the same respect, I think companies are getting peppumed per employee per month to death with subscriptions. and then their benefits are getting too expensive for them to be able to maintain competitive advantage in whatever industry they're solving. So we find all kinds of things happen where people offshore, right, rather than hire US workers because you've got to offer benefits. So I think that it's a complex problem. We need to simplify it a bit and ensure that it's sustainable. But there are a lot of case studies where $300 million have gone to a technology and it sells for $200 million. There's a lot of case studies where $10 to $20 million have gone to a technology and it sold for $800 million, right? So just because a technology can survive for a shelf life or can raise that type of capital doesn't mean it will always be here. You've got to add value. And I go back to that all the time. If you do not add value, you may be able to sell it. You're not going to be able to retain it, right? Or you're not going to be able to maintain the level that you have when if the price of competition is low, right, and the barrier to entry is low, then a lot of people are going to get in that market. You have to have something to differentiate yourself from the noise, and there's a lot of noise in benefits.
So I understand the problem of the employee. I understand the problem of the employer. I have 10 to 15 days to take a decision of choosing something. Until now, it was just take it or leave it. And the employer, it's, oh my God, it's yet another expense that I don't know what to do. Earlier, is it, by the way, is for the employer, is it still today a type of a competitive advantage when hiring people? Or is it already out, or just in the high tech and startups who are competing for
No,
top
I think
talent?
benefits are a differentiator because benefits are really harming families because they can't, if you're paying a lot for your family coverage out of your paycheck, then you can't sustain in this economy. So if you have a great benefits platform or practice or program at your employer and you can afford to offer that, then you're going to be able to recruit and retain.
Okay.
And I think
So
employees have wisened up to look at what that program looks like because they may go to a new job and they've got a $20,000 raise and they didn't think to look at the benefits, and it's been eaten up by the worst, the lesser benefits program.
So it's a great tool to retain talent and a great tool as a differentiator to hire talent.
Yes.
At the same time, also, the biggest problem, it can be very expensive and it has other overhead. And then there is the problem for the brokers is like, okay, I have a relationship with 1 to 3 carriers or incumbents that I'm working with. There are different programs. I have my book of incentives and bonuses that each one of those carriers provide me so I can sell more, so I should sell more and more. What is the biggest problem for the brokers?
The biggest problem for the brokers is they are also having a hard time differentiating. There are so many brokerage agencies now, and they are gobbling up each other as well. So there's large mega national chains that have all the money power behind them. And then there's the smaller regionals, and they're all trying to compete for that same employer. So they need to differentiate themselves. They also need to make sure they're staying innovative because their employer is getting noise now from direct to employer platforms, right? Direct to employer benefits programs. They're getting noise from PEO organizations. They're getting noise from direct primary care. They're getting noise from, Paychex or ADP trying to sell them benefits. So the broker needs to be able to manage a larger book now because the compensation has come down. Transparency rules have required that to come down. They need to be able to differentiate themselves, add value to their employer client. They need to be able to retain it. So they've got to build trust. They've got to do all of those things, and they got to do it quickly. And they've got to be able to manage more clients. So they're facing, much like our doctors are facing, they're facing less in reimbursements from the carriers, right? And so they have to see more patients. So in every piece of this journey, everyone's having to do more with less. And so they need the right tools, and they need to ensure when they win a logo, it's really hard to go get a new employer, that they don't put a partner or a technology in place that's going to cause them to lose that logo. So they've got to be really thoughtful about vetting their partners, about evaluating technologies, about not just using any shiny new toy because they're giving them a referral. Because now their employer could get hacked, right? I mean, there are all these other things that can
Ooh,
happen,
yeah, no,
right?
that's
I mean,
now
just
we are getting into cybersecurity and all that fun.
well, I don't want to go there, but any
No,
of those
no.
things can happen to a poor broker, right? So they've got to manage their employer's payroll system recommendations, their benefit system recommendations, their carrier recommendations, their overall recommendations of whether you do a self-insurance, an ICRA, personal choice, or you're doing group insurance, which carrier am I going to recommend? They've got to do all of that within all the ERISA compliance. So it's very complex for them. And where our value is in that piece is most of these brokers are licensed and appointed, as you mentioned, with 3 carriers, maybe top 5. And if you go to individual choice, it's 303 carriers across the nation that these employees have a choice from. So they would have to get appointed with 303 carriers. They've got to build relationships with those carriers. They've got to do all of these things, maintain compliance in all the states. Very complex. So they can't do that if they want to recommend individual choice. They can. It's just a lot of work. And most of their employers have employees outside of the commercial markets that are licensed. So that's where we add and solve the problem there.
Q, Benefit Bay, and you're
Q
providing them
benefit to step in that gap for you. Yeah.
and you're providing them with the technology to parse, digest, recommend everything that they need to digest all of that information and go to their prospect client and go like, this is what you need. And it's
Yes.
all in a click. So closing deals quicker.
Closing deals quickly. And they can maintain control of that census. That's what we call it. But it's really the details on that employer and their employees. They can maintain it. They don't have to send it to us to get them a quote, to hold the details, to not trust us. They can do it themselves. We can help them if they want. But I think the real value is in that they have a tool to add their value at the table. They have a tool to provide those proposals. They have a tool to add it when they want, they have a tool to talk about it when they don't want to recommend that. And so having that tool at their disposal allows them to maintain their value as the consultant relationship at the table. Instead of inserting somebody who really has a desire to cut them away from the table. So that's where our value is.
This is I love that because we are now in what, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years into the InsurTech, no, 10, almost 10 years into the InsurTech revolution, and we've seen the different waves and trends at the beginning. Oh, we're going to remove the agents, and then we are back, and even the lemonades of the world selling everything through the agents. And that's what I love about the concept of broker tech agent, the agent empowerment. It's all about the people there. There is a shift now, right? The boomers are, the young boomers are now retiring. There is the switch of the baton in terms of who's responsible now. But with technology and Gen X's and millennials and I don't know who is coming. What is it? ABC, Z, Alpha, Beta already.
Yeah.
Are we
Gen
in beta
Alpha,
already?
very interesting. Gen Alpha right now, right?
I
I
think
have an
it's
11
beta
year old.
already.
Gen Alpha, but I think we're in beta. I think your daughter is beta, right?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
She's 3 months old. She's like, for her, I'm just happy when she poops. That makes my day bright.
Yes.
At this age, it's like, it's as funny as it is. It's like, the only thing I care now is how much she eats and how much she poops. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm happy. And the smile, and she pays me with smiles. It's
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. It melts your heart. Yeah.
she's adorable. She wakes up with a smile and this big open mouth smile. It's like in me, I'm and that's it. I'm like I'm good for the rest of the day.
Yep.
It's like so
Yeah.
happy.
Nothing can go wrong from there. It's just all that
No,
matters. Yeah.
that's it. Okay, back to business.
Back to it.
Great. I already forgot completely what we were talking about. So
We're talking about agent value and making sure that they have the tools they need. So that is really core to our mission is in how we were founded is giving the agent the tool they need to be successful.
Yes,
and
we were talking about agent empowerment, the technology that will go to the brokers, and how we need to continue there. Because with all due respect to ChatGPT and all those guys, they are amazing, but they are not there yet.
Yeah.
Once an agent can actually sympathize, empathize, or provide a shoulder to someone at need, or someone is like, well, I have 15 days to decide what's going on, and I don't have time, I don't have the capacity, and I have no idea what the hell is agents say. And what does it mean for me? It's like, it's a group insurance. Everyone has the same thing, and we are not the same thing. One is a bachelor, another one has 5 kids, and the third one, sadly, her husband is not in the best of health.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, what does it mean for them? Where in their journey is completely different. And AI is not there, it's getting there, but for now, let's empower the agents, the brokers, who can give the right advice.
Yeah. I mean, we use the AI, of course, with the payments
Everyone
and
is
all of
using
the
it.
things and the easy questions like what is a deductible, right?
Yes.
But if I am taking 3 complex drugs and those drugs could bury my family if I don't pick the right plan that has the right drug formulary provisions, I might need to verify with a human. And I think it would be financially and fiduciarily irresponsible for us to be trusting that to an AI agent at this time until it's in a better
There are a
place.
few that are great in terms of processing, and they will be even more accurate than a pharmacist of understanding the chemicals and the impact
Yeah.
of the active ingredients. However, they will have a disclaimer, go talk to your primary caregiver.
Yes. It's the tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and the drug spellings are this long, and
Yes. And if you have the patience to sometimes to read the entire description of what is it, or whatever the latest and greatest, you may have the same patience to actually read and just call your doctor. He or she will explain it much better.
Right.
Wonderful. Okay, so first of all, it's been great, and time flies by when we are having fun. We are
Yes.
kind of reaching the end of our conversation, and what else should, before I'm asking my favorite question about failure and success and lesson learned and stuff like that, what else people should know about benefit pay?
I think they should know about Benefit Bay that it's a team of people who have always had a passion about solving insurance challenges just in all different ways. We have a lot of nurses. We have retired teachers. Teachers historically have had really poor benefits in education, but they care about education. We have a lot of clinical care providers who are now on this side wanting to make it better. And then we have a lot of technologists or techies who want to make it better and who are challenged about it and really passionate. And I think to know about Benefit Bay that we are a technology company, but we actually care about the heartbeats we serve. We're not here for a 90% SaaS margin. That's what there is to know about Benefit Bay. And I know brands say, we haven't had the money to really market. How we've grown is organic. And how you grow organically is that you've spent the time doing the hard things so that people will say great things about you when you're not in the room. And that is what Benefit Bay is. And I think that's the one thing I just want people to know us by. You probably don't. We're the big ICHRA provider that's never really known as a name, and we're not known as a name because we're not out there hammering our name to everyone with all those ad dollars. But we're securing those clients because what matters is the HR executive telling the next HR executive, and the broker telling the next broker, and the CFO telling the next CFO that ICHRA solved their problem, and that they'll put their name behind us, and that they'll even refer candidates into our team. And some of our best hires have come from our clients referring somebody to our team for this great opportunity. So I think that that's what I would want people to know about Benefit Bay, other than benefits, just a great company being built.
I love it. And I would add that, kind of tying it back to the whole investor conversation, one of the things that investors don't like to see on a slide is, well, they like and they don't like. And here is the way that we're going to take your money and give it to Google so we can buy ads. Now, you need it and you don't need it. Everyone wants to have the blessing of word of mouth. Everyone wants to have the organic traffic that will go based on SEO or whatever the new thing that will drive leads through the different Gen AI to that solution with a link. And however, there is still a little. There are two separate things there. It's first of all, it's ads, which will generate leads.
Mm-hmm.
Then, with that competition, of course, you have the conferences and other things. And with that is brand recognition as your logo appears over and over and over again. And people have it. The first thing is like logo or brand familiarity. And from there, they can associate it with other things that ideally positive emotion, and that will brand with them for a very long time. And yeah, it's in insurance benefits in this world, it's not the latest craze. So in 2 months, I'm going to be the best known brand. It's like no, it takes years, sometimes even a generation. Ask everyone who is still have USAA because, well, my dad had.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's enough about me talking too much. So indulge me, please. Tell me about a failure that turned into a success. Tell me a story. Our previous guest talked about missing the core business or the core incentive, which means pre-pivot, they offered an AI solution, and basically that actually ate the business of, well, it's so interrupted. It was so disruptive to the business because they cared about billables. They didn't want to be efficient.
Mm-hmm.
So they couldn't bill as much as possible their clients.
Mm. Yeah.
But that's his story.
Yeah. So for us, a failure early on was that we gave our technology away for free to the brokers. And so
the freemium problem.
Yeah. So the choice was, agents will never pay for this. We should just give it to them and then they'll use it and they will, see our value and they will do all of these great things and we will grow. What happened
different problem.
in that first year when we gave it away for free is we wasted our time and our team's energy on a lot of people who used our services and our talent and our acumen for free. They would use our team's technology because it was amazing. They wouldn't care to learn it. So our team would have to help them. Our team would be on all of the calls. And then they may go use one of these cheaper technologies that didn't have all of the talent around the table or the tech of the quoting tool. So at year one, we made a pivotal shift to not waste our time with those types of behaviors. We were going to know that we had a partner at the table. We were going to know that they were serious about ICRA because they were going to sign a SaaS agreement. And they were going to pay a small amount of money to use our tool set and to have access to that technology. That was a key differentiator point. But the first year was a complete failure of us trying to service 100 people, 100 different agencies on free agreements that yielded us very limited volume. So we had ballooned up to a team of 33 people helping these brokers, and we would sign very small cases because we were servicing just any broker. And we were just really not getting thoughtful about who was our ideal customer profile and requiring them to self-select. If you're not willing to pay $199 a month or $119 a month for your agency location to have access to a premium tool to provide a better service to your clients, and you are going to be a broker who is at the race to the bottom, which is free, or the lowest price deliverer of services, then you are not a fit for us as a client. And we do not do that anymore. And it is a key change.
And just to make sure that I understand, what was the reasoning at the beginning to give it for free?
Because so I wasn't the founding CEO of this organization. I was the founding operations, FinTech builder, the COO, CFO seat. And our original founding CEO was a broker. And his mindset was that the brokers were never going to pay for this. And so he was giving it for free. And a lot of them were his friends. So he was giving it for free, and we were doing all these things for everyone for free that were yielding nothing. We were spending our time running around all the time, doing a lot of things for a lot of people that never ended up paying us $1 or bringing us a client. So when he left the organization, which was 1 year in, and the board and the investors nominated me to be the go-forward CEO of this company, that is when we made that pivotal change. I have taken a lot of daggers from our investors, potential investors. Don't you think you would do so much better if you would just remove that SaaS subscription? I had one sales rep the entire time I've been the CEO. I had one sales rep till just now. We just grew to 4. But that sales rep at first was like, it's so hard for me to get to signature. I know it is. But when we get to signature, the yield on those types and ideal customer profile brokers that we are signing, they are the ones who care about their clients. And those are the people we want at the table because those are going to be low churn broker partners. And our retention has soared since we've shifted that strategy. And so I think that that's a key thing I would tell people is if you're building something that has value and you believe in your value, then stand in that value. It might be slower at first to get the number of users you need, but you will yield the right results. The other case is in the free game, and it's a race to the bottom. And you don't want to be in that game.
No, you don't. And it's, first of all, I need to correct, I earlier said the freemium. It's not the freemium model or the problem. And most definitely, it's such a classic example. We've seen it so many times. I don't know if it comes from a lack of confidence or other issues, but most definitely there are a few questions there. You can designate someone to be a design partner and give it for free, but they pay for feedback and, testing it for you and providing you with the right information and feedback, and they're actually working for that. However, they need to become experts in the product.
Like an early partner that's giving you the input for the product, and
that's not the case.
That's it. After that, no. Yes, I do agree with that. Yeah. We have 2 of those cases that are still with us today, and they're now paying members. But early on, they were kind of memorandum of understandings. They're going to go on this journey with us. They're going to help us build this tech with all of their input, and we're going to help them grow their market. And they're going to be the people who are being innovative, putting their stake in the ground. I agree to that too. So thanks for calling that out, but not as an overall, everyone gets everything for free.
No.
Only those early risk takers, much like early startup employees, they were the risk takers. That's why they get equity, right?
Indeed.
Something may be successful or not. They're also going to work themselves to death those first couple of years.
And this is where we can talk about strike price and make sure that you have that right, because I've seen those are things as well. But the more going back to the model and how it works, and I think that you coined it very well. It's the self-selected group. When you buy, first of all, when you pay for something, you appreciate it. And then you actually learn how to use it, and you use it. If it's something for free, okay, it's free. Will I use it? I will not use it. However, when we tie it back to the investors, it really depends what type of investor. There are several categories of investors, and a few of them will go like, this is the type of traction that they want. I want to, and they will have the KPIs or the KOs that will fit with their thesis. Now, those are investors. You are the CEO. with all due respect to the investors, you are the CEO. It's your responsibility, and you're the one who's setting the tone and everything that needs to define the success, and of course the success of the company and everything. And it's sometimes I've been there, but I don't envy you, as we call. It's not an easy struggle, because it really depends what type of traction they're expecting to see versus the one that you're expecting to see. They would like, oh, I want to see, I don't know, as many signups. It's like, great, signups. I don't signups. It's just, you just added another entry in the funnel that at the end of the day, we have a few steps here and then someone is actually paying, but it's benefits. So benefits, it's an employer that will sign up, and that's one of the metrics or the KPIs that I'm looking for. Then there is how many employees actually calling you, how much, and more and more and more. And then you have carriers integration, but that's enterprise. Yeah. So that's different. Wonderful. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Brandy, it was a pleasure talking with you. I think that at this point, it's going to be, we'll figure out how we edit the episode. It's going to be lovely. Okay. Now, who should reach out and how they can reach out to you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to, you can go to our website, benefitbay.com. We're the only Benefit Bay, so, benefitbay.com. Or you can reach me. I'm still brandy.burch@benefitbay.com on my email. So you can email me. I'm on LinkedIn. I've updated it to Brandy Thompson since I'm recently married. I'm in the process of evolving the evolution of my married name. And they can go to sales@benefitbay.com and they'll be connected with one of our sales team members. Like I said, we just graduated to having 4. So we now are covering the U.S. regions because of so much incoming now that we've gotten to this place. And, really just go out there and learn about ICRA. I encourage people to learn, ask their broker about it. I'm going to encourage them to ask their broker about it, share that they heard about it from Benefit Bay. And that's the way to start the conversation.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Brandy, thank you. Have a great continue of your day.
Yeah. Have a great weekend.